Okay, we're going to look in this video about forming equations, first of all. And to do this, you want to identify the unknown, so what you're trying to find, and call it x, and try to form expressions with the information given to then form an equation. So in this example, it says Paul cycles 80 kilometers and runs 45 kilometers each week. He cycles at 11 kilometers per hour quicker than he runs. He runs 1 hour more per week. Form an equation, solve to find the length of time he cycles each week. So we're going to say let x equal the time that he cycles, because that's what we're trying to find at the end of this question. So the speed he cycles in is equal to, he cycles 80 kilometers divided by the time that it takes him, so 80 over x. And the time that he runs is equal to, and it says he runs 1 hour more per week. So if he cycles for x, he runs for 1 hour more, so he cycles for x plus 1. And he runs at 45 kilometers each week. He runs for 45 kilometers each week, so that means his speed that he runs is equal to the distance that he runs, which is 45, divided by the time that he runs, which is x plus 1. Okay, it says he cycles, this is where it gets hard, he says he cycles for 11 kilometers per hour quicker than he runs. That means, that tells you that the speed he cycles minus the speed he runs is equal to 11. So that takes you to here, which is 80 over x minus 45 over x plus 1 is equal to 11, which is an equation which we can then go on to solve. Okay, so we're just going to write our formula out again, but we're taking a common denominator this time. So the common denominator is going to be x upon x plus 1, and it's still equal to 11. So then you've got your 80 upon x plus 1 minus 45 times your x. First thing I'm going to do is just multiply across by my denominator. So I'll have 80 upon x plus 1 minus 45x is equal to 11 upon x and x upon x plus 1. And multiply everything out, you'll have 80x plus 80 minus 45x is equal to 11x squared plus 11x. And then tidy that up, it's a bit of a mess, so you're going to have 35x plus 80 is equal to 11x squared plus 11x. Bring it all to one side, put it equal to 0. You'll have 11x squared minus 24x minus 80. Now, I would look at this one and I would think that doesn't factorize. I think it actually would factorize when I can see my answer here, but in an exam, to be quite honest, I would just use your quadratic formula. So here, x is equal to minus b, which is going to be 24, plus or minus the square root, and this is my b squared, minus my 4, times my a, times my c, which is minus 80, just squeeze that in, all divided by 2a, so that's 2 times 11. And if you do that out, you're going to get x is equal to, that's going to be 24 plus or minus the square root of 4096, and that's all divided by 22. Okay, if I just scroll on down here, I haven't got much room. I'll go across a wee bit, I think. Here, we'll just finish this off to get the x values. X is equal to 4, and then x is equal to minus 20 over 11. Okay, now if we think about this one, x was, if we go back to the start, x was this time that he cycles. You're not going to cycle for a negative time, so we just say here, ignore. You don't have to go into any description of why you're ignoring it, but just ignore that answer because it's a negative. So then your final answer, x is equal to 4 hours. 4 hours, so he cycles 4 hours a week, and that's it. Okay, you're now ready to do exercise 2c, and they're not all quadratic fractions. Sorry, they're not all algebraic fractions, they're just general solving, setting up quadratic equations. Okay, I'm going to look at an example here of multiplying and dividing fractions. So here, the first thing I would do in a question like this, I'll just write it out again, is I'll try and factorize where possible. So I'm going to write that as, first mistake, I'm going to write that as 2 upon 2x minus 5. And this bottom line factorizes as it's a difference of two squares, so it's x minus 3 upon x plus 3. Now it's still dividing by 2x minus 5, x plus 2, all over, and a 3 could come out here, leaving you x plus 3. Okay, so notice I did one thing in that step, which was factorizing, and that was it. My next step then, I'm going to write that all out again. But this time I'm changing my divide sign to a multiply sign, and I have to flip my dividing fraction. So this divide sign changes to a multiply, and the thing it is dividing flips upside down. So that is what you have. If we then have a look at this and see what we can cancel out. So if we have a look at this and see what's going on, you can now it's multiplying. You're in a stage that you can cancel out. So you put a nice neat line so you can still see it, see what you're cancelling. I have an x plus 3 at the top here, and it cancels with this x plus 3. I have a 2x minus 5 on the top here, and it cancels with 2x minus 5 down on the bottom. And I think that's it. Yep, that's all that I can do. So I can move on from here. So moving on from here, you've now got rid of everything on the top line except the numbers. Numbers on the top line are just 2 times 3, so it's just going to be 6. On the bottom line, you've got x minus 3 upon x plus 2, and that's it. Okay, folks, you're now ready to do 3 exercises here. Exercise 1D, the odds. Exercise 1E, the odds. And exercise 1F, the odds. This is the last of our algebraic fractions examples. In this one, we have to just simplify this. So it's not a solving one, it's just simplifying. So it's a pretty ugly looking one. So in this, we're bringing in our multiplying out triple brackets as well into this expression. So first thing is factorize whatever you can. Notice on the bottom line, I've got x squared minus 9, which you should now be recognizing as a difference of two squares, as x minus 3, x plus 3. And your top line, we're going to just multiply it out. So I'm going to leave that first bracket, x minus 1, and I'm going to multiply out the x plus 2 upon the x plus 1. And over here, I'll leave that as, I'll just multiply it out, minus 2x squared. 2x squared times the x is minus 2x cubed, and minus 2x squared times the 1 is minus 2x squared, and then plus 2. And then, okay, so we're back to this, we're multiplying out these two things. So I have x times the 2x, which is 2x squared, and I have x times the 1, which is x, and then 2 times the 2x, which is going to be 4x, and 2 times the 1, which is 2. Okay, that is a bit of a mess at the minute. Let's just tidy it up. Of x minus 1, sorry, of my denominator, I'll do my denominator first, write it out. I have x minus 1 upon then, and that will tidy up to be 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. And over here, this has just been minus 2x squared minus, that's minus 2x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2. And then we have to multiply out. So we're multiplying this thing times this thing. That's what we're doing now. So your x multiplies the 2x squared to give you 2x cubed. X multiplies the 5x to give you 5x squared. X multiplies the 2 to give you 2x. And minus 1 multiplies the 2x squared to give you minus 2x squared. Minus 1 multiplies the 5x to give you minus 5x. Minus 1 multiplies the 2 to give you minus 2. And then whatever you had left in the numerator, just write it in. And then write in your denominator again, which was x minus 3 upon x plus 3. Okay, we're still going here. What we want to do now is just tidy up that top line and see what we have. See if this ever becomes any easier. So on your top line, sorry, I'll just write my bottom line first. Top line sorted out, you've got a 2x cubed term, and you've a 2x cubed term over here. They'll cancel each other out. Your x squared terms, you've 5x squared minus 2x squared minus another 2x squared, leaves you just x squared. You've a 2x, and you've a minus 5x, and that's just going to give you minus 3x. And you've minus 2, and you have a plus 2. They just cancel out, so that's all that you have. Okay, I'll go up here to finish this off. So top line now factorizes to be x upon x minus 3. X upon x minus 3. And then your bottom line is just x minus 3 upon x plus 3. And then just like in the last example, you'll notice what cancels out is your x minus 3 and your x minus 3. And then your last thing you can do is you can just say, last thing you can do is just write it out again as just x over x plus 3. Okay, and you're now ready to do the Algebra and Equations question booklet, exercise 1J, and there's not many of these, so just do them all. Just do questions 1 to 4.